Hello, this is Karen Squires with Stampin' by the Bay, and today we're going to go ahead and do this Picture Perfect card, and it's using the hummingbird from the Picture Perfect set and the framelets, the Botanical Gardens. One thing to note is it's a fairly easy card to put together. These you can just cut out ahead of time and have a bag ready of different colors, but I did go ahead and sort them out for you. When you cut out the framelets, okay, these are the framelets, and you know how sometimes the framelets get stuck. I'm not sure if you've noticed this new tool, but this new tool is so wonderful for those intricate dies or framelets. So it's a mat, it's a foam mat, and then you get the brush. You can get the brush. So you see how these are, and this one actually is going to pop out fairly easy, but sometimes you don't. You can't get, underneath there, and you can use your paper piercer. This one I went ahead and did too. But the wonderful thing about this tool is you just place it on this mat, and you just run this brush over top, and look at that. They just pop right out. So this tool is wonderful, and before, like, you can use it with the butterfly dies and stuff, and you usually have to run it through fabric softener sheets and all that other stuff, but not anymore. I just use this tool. I have it handy, and I love it. So to me, this is a must get if you like these intricate dies or intricate framelets. It's wonderful for popping those, those harder framelets out. Okay, let me go ahead and clear this up, and we'll get started making the card. Okay, to start with, we're going to go ahead and use stamp this piece of Whisper White. The Whisper White piece is 5 1/4 by 4 inches, and I'm going to use my hardwood stamp, and I always use my Misty whenever I use background stamps. I think they work wonders. So if you wanted a lighter, you can do this one of two ways. Sometimes I like to stamp off once and then stamp again for the hardwood. You can get a lighter look. But what I do, since I have my one piece, I go ahead and just ink up my stamp with the Smoky Slate. Okay. You can place your paper in here. You want to make sure you have to make sure you leave a border there. You can stamp once. And what you can do is just go ahead and flip this over and stamp it one more time. As long as you stamp it up in the same area. This way you can decide if you want the lighter or the darker. Okay, so you have that, and then next you're going to want a piece of fun foam. The fun foam is just a little bit smaller than this, so it's 5 inches by 3 3/4 of an inch. All right, so that's going to be on the back side. All right. I'm going to wait to glue that on. Okay. The next fun thing that you're going to have to do is the stamp the hummingbird from Picture. With this stamp set, when you get it, you'll see that it's labeled on the actual sheet. It says like 1, 2, 3, 4, and it tells you which one to stamp first, second, and third. But what I have found is sometimes it's a little bit easier if you take like a Sharpie and you put those numbers on your stamps on that little tab. That way you don't get confused about, okay, which one am I supposed to stamp first, and you're trying to figure out which one's the darker background. So I have those stamped, and it's all 4 stamps for the hummingbird that we're going to use. And first I am going to stamp it with the Smoky Slate, and the second one I'm going to stamp with Bermuda Bay. And the third one I am going to stamp with Bermuda Bay, and the fourth one I am going to stamp with the black. Okay, so I have my piece of paper, Okay, my Smoky Slate. I'm going to stamp. It's best when you stamp these to make sure you keep the tab in the same direction, and that will help you line up each layer. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp it up in this corner. I'll take it off. Okay. The next color is Bermuda Bay. And again, it's this, the little neck piece. And you see this little divot right there? Well, they have the same thing right here in the stamp. So that is what I use to line up. And again, my tab is facing up just like when I did my stamp 1. So it should be easier to line up. So I'm just going to go ahead and ink up the 2. And I'm going to get in here and I'm going to try not to get my head in the view. But I think I hit that. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and stamp. It's a little bit further down on the neck, but I think it's good. And what you'll find out is it's best sometimes to practice on an actual scrap paper, and then that way it's easier to line up. Okay, so next I'm going to go ahead and take my number 3, which is the remaining of the blue, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp this. Now, again, my tab is facing up, but this one is a little harder to line up. But what I did is I start down here at the bottom feathers, and I line those up, and then I line these, and then the head should be pretty much in line. Okay, so I start in the bottom, I line, and then I go around. So my the bottom feathers look good, and my top feathers look good, and I think my head is good. So I am going to go ahead and stamp. Okay, so that's the Bermuda Bay. So the next is the 4th one, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp in the black. And again, it's easy to do this first by lining up your bottom feathers. Your top feathers, and then the head. All right. I am going to, you can cut this out by hand. I am going to actually pause this, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp the rest of these and cut it out with my scanning cut. It does cut it out pretty well. It actually even cuts out the little beak, which is surprising. But, all right, and I'll see you in a minute when I have this cut out. Okay, so this is my piece of paper with my hummingbirds, and I had, it's still attached to my mat, and I just wanted to show, so I pull up, you see how it kind of pulls up my piece of paper, and this comes with a little spatula, and I just get in there, and I just kind of get in one angle. If one side's not going to work, then I go to another one, and it usually just pops right up. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and first attach the ribbon. This is the pool party ribbon. I don't know if anyone has seen it yet, but it's interesting how the material that it's made out of. But I really like the ease of use of it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and attach my glue to the back side. Okay, I'll hit it with a glue dot in a minute. Okay, so next I'm going to go ahead and pull out my flowers. Okay, so I'm going to lay them out. Alright, next you just go ahead and take your Smoky Slate piece of paper, which is 5.5 by 8.5, scored in half, and you just want to go ahead and reinforce that, and you want to go ahead and attach this to the front. Okay, I took the thank you, I like the fancy cursive, out of the SAB Celebration What I Love stamp set. Stamped it in the black ink, and I'll punch it out on the Word Window Punch, and I use Wistful White cardstock. Next, I'm going to go ahead and take the Calypso Coral color and the Modern Label Punch and punch out. Whoops, sorry. Alright, next I'm just going to go ahead and attach the inside piece and the inside. The other ones, I think I stamped the bird. I actually think I am going to go ahead and stamp the hummingbird before I attach it. So, you know, this piece for the inside is the same as the front. It's 5 1/4 by 4 inches, and you just attach that on the inside. I know you know how to do that, so I don't need to show you. But this is the Picture Perfect Botanical card, and it's a fairly easy card to put together. Probably pretty easy if you mass produced it, I guess, a little bit with the flowers, if you just go ahead and punch out a bunch of them ahead of time. Alrighty. Alright, thanks for stopping by.